Welcome to the Railway Series Book Club, the podcast where we dissect the Railway series. I'm Jamie.
I'm Marina.
I'm Liv.
And we hope you enjoy the show. Hello everybody, and welcome to the Railway Series Book Club, the podcast where we talk about the funny haha trains.
Those trains are pretty funny.
Haha, funny train.
Yeah.
I almost had something there.
Yeah, I'm Jamie. I am your hostess with the mostest. Pronouns she, her.
Hey Marina, she, her. I'm your local TV series bitch.
I'm Liv, also she, her. I'm British.
And we are getting right into today's story.
Yeah.
No time for fun and games. This is serious mode only, you know?
It's time to go to war.
Yes.
Or almost time to go to war. This is a prelude to war.
Yeah, it's the prelude to our Stories of War podcast.
Can we do that, though?
I mean, I would love to do that, but honestly, I really don't want to incur anyone's wrath just by making an entire piece of content just kind of based around taking the piss out of a specific guy's piece of work.
I mean, it's specifically stories of Sodor, stories of war, so I don't think anyone would really care.
I don't know. It's just that's a hornet's nest I don't know if I'm willing to hit with a stick right now.
I'll kick it.
So today we're going to be talking about tenders and turntables.
Yeah.
These tenders sure are on turntables.
Yeah, you know.
Wow, those tenders sure are tilted.
We're back in season 1-ish order, you know, after having made a weird detour with Henry and the elephant. Yeah, it's a fun story, I think, you know.
Yeah, this was one of the ones, like, I first read, or first knew, like, from reading the book, because I don't even know if this was on a DVD. It's like, I know there was Tenders and Turntables VHS, but I don't know if that ever got... I don't think that ever got put on DVD.
Yeah.
But, like, I always liked this one.
Yeah, it's good. Why don't we start reading?
See, I had it on my complete series on DVD.
Technically, no, actually, I did have this on the early years, because I had that for like a week, and I don't remember what happened to that. Something probably scared me, and I made my parents get rid of it. I don't know, I was a pussy. Like, half of the faces scared me when I was younger.
Should we begin our tale of woe and whimsy?
Sure.
Yeah.
Tenders and turntables. The big stations at both ends of the line each have a turntable. The Fat Controller had them made so that Edward, Henry, Gordon, and James can be turned round. It is dangerous for tender engines to go fast backwards. Tank engines like Thomas don't need turntables. They can go just as well backwards as forwards. But if you had heard Gordon talking a short while ago, you would have thought that the Fat Controller had given him a tender just to show how important he was. I like this illustration.
Yeah, it's a good illustration. I like it, you know.
Edward and James are vibing at the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, also, God, I haven't really properly been keeping track, which is a shame, because I thought I was doing a good job of that, but then I started second-guessing myself. Whatever. Point is, James has the black roof and lining on the wheel arches, which is something that was conspicuously absent in his title book.
Oh, yeah,
He also still looks like he has gray wheels.
I think it's just the shading.
You know, it absolutely is, but, like, I find it interesting that there's a lot of illustrations where you can kind of take them as looking gray.
See, I know this is getting a bit ahead of ourselves, but I think it's really stupid that they say that Edward has black wheels when James literally has black wheels.
Yeah, I'm disappointed they didn't make a joke out of that, honestly.
Yeah.
I believe this is the first story since 3 Railway Engines where every engine introduced by, like, this point appears.
Yeah.
Because, like, Edward doesn't speak in this one.
But
He's only
there.
really a cameo. Yeah, but he's like both mentioned and he is in the first illustration. So
Yeah,
like,
and all the other engines are here
interesting.
too. So, yeah, the next story is also like that. But you know, this is it's still cool that this one's like it too.
yeah.
You know, this like I think it is very fitting that this book is just there isn't a specific engine it's named after. It's just kind of a book shared
They're
by all
all-
the engines. You know,
Yeah.
They're all a bit troublesome.
yeah,
They are. They are the troublesome engines.
yeah,
You're among friends here.
you know.
This is where people go when they're troublesome.
God. Something that we probably mentioned last time is the exposition from the beginning of the last story was tacked on to the beginning of the TV version of this story, which,
Yeah.
Yeah.
coupled up with this explanation of turntables, is like, it makes it an episode that's very front-loaded with exposition, but, I mean, it's not egregious or anything, but it does feel a bit much.
I measured specifically because I'm an idiot like this. Before it takes 1:08 to get to the scene with with Thomas and Gordon talking, like the next page in this book, which like is almost a third into the episode.
Yeah, it's a good thing that this story just on its own runs pretty short, because like that way
Yeah.
they could actually afford to have all the exposition up front.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause
I will. I do want to say very quickly here. I think this is the first time we see Tidmouth in this book, because you can't really distinctly tell where we are in the first illustration of the last story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, also this is like one of the only locations that is kind of consistently drawn in Dolby's run.
Yeah, it's got the funny turntable.
Got the turntable and like the
Really?
tracks next to the beach and the free tracks to the shed with the little coal stave in the front.
Yeah,
I guess
Sweet.
maybe you had a reference or something for this?
maybe.
Or Wilbur was just already tired of his bullshit.
Yeah, maybe Audrey just drew a track plan, and Dolby he did his best.
It still surprises me
No.
how long.
It does, like,
Dolby
honestly, the
lasts.
shed set does look an awful lot like what we see in James the Red Engine. Because, like,
Yeah.
there's the shed, and then there's, like, the points of the turntable. So, yeah. I don't know. Words.
I believe.
Or maybe he
the,
just traced another image.
I believe
Probably.
I believe the track next to the shed, which you can see in like a few illustrations later in this story, is where they built the fourth berth of the shed later on.
Yeah,
What?
maybe. Yeah, there's, like, a track kind of next to the sheds that's... I don't know, try to make sense of the illustrations is a bit of a headache sometimes.
Wait, Tidmouth Sheds only had 3 berths in the Railway series?
At the
originally?
start.
Did it? Well, I guess the first one we see is Vickerstown Sheds. I don't fucking
Oh,
remember how many
yeah.
bursts it had in James the Red Engine. But, there's...
I think the most engines we ever see in it is James, Gordon, and Benry.
Yeah.
Huh.
Shit's
Like,
just
later-
weird.
later on,
Illustrations
they
aren't
added-
canon.
Later on, they add a fourth, and they also knock down the coaling stage so that there's more space to actually store engines outside.
Yeah. And then at some
Everything
point
is
they
canon.
make a big interior roundhouse, which is a headache and a half, but we don't have to think about that right now. There's not a lot to say about this page. It's mostly just exposition.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just the setup.
Yeah.
I mean, Edward and James are straight vibing at the beach, though.
Yeah, they're just having fun, you know.
Fucking beach day. You don't understand, little Thomas, said Gordon. We tender engines have a position to keep up. You haven't a tender, and that makes a difference. It doesn't matter where you go, but we are important. And for the Fat Controller to make us shunt trucks, fetch coaches, and go on some of those dirty sidings, it's not the proper thing. And Gordon puffed away in a dignified manner. Thomas chuckled and went off with Andy and Clarabelle. I like Thomas's face in this.
It's really good. Like, he's just winking at the audience like, yeah, you know this guy's gonna get into some shit.
Get a load of this guy.
Get
Also,
a load of this
you probably
fucker.
can't see it because of how I cropped the image, but early bird cameo by Bulgy.
Yeah! You know,
Just
I
a
noticed that
fucking
when you
double-decker
pointed
bus
it
back
out.
there.
He hasn't joined the Anti-Rail League yet.
It's before he's been radicalized. Although, honestly, I do wonder if that was originally meant to be Birdie, but then Dolby just decided to make it not Birdie.
Yeah, it's Birdie in the TV series, I'm pretty sure, so I could
Is Birdie
see it
even
being
in the
that.
scene?
Maybe he's definitely in it later when he's in one of the scenes of Thomas and Gordon at the station.
Okay, I've never noticed him.
I will say, I do like this, because it's literally just Gordon complaining at Thomas.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and Thomas just finds it funny and leaves.
yeah. Like, Gordon's just so fucking, like, he thinks he means something, but really he's just a petty idiot.
I mean, he does go fast vroom vroom.
He goes fast vroom vroom, but that does not make you the god of the railway.
No, that's Steven.
No, he's king of the railway. God
And
of the
hero is
railway
master
is,
of the railway.
Godred.
Have you seen that post? I'm fucking dating this by saying this, like, when we record this, but have you seen that post where it's like fucking like Railway Series purists when Brenner era friends say that like Steven has more personality than the concepts for engines on Audrey's Mid-Sodor layout, and it's just the clip of fucking Duke saying that Bertram should have died in fucking the Thomas 1, Edward 2, Henry 3 video.
I don't understand why they chose that for the meme, because I mean, like, you know, I feel like as time goes on, I've been sliding more and more into Railway Series best, but like, I mean, categorically speaking, those characters do have more characters than those models, because those models are just models. They don't have stories or anything.
But they're Railway Series, so they're better.
God.
I just
this
like
is the thing, right? With like Jim, Tim, and Albert, they're not characters. They kind of were just Audrey wanted more trains for his train set.
Yeah, they're like, they're words on a timetable. Like, it's cool. It's a cool idea to try and expand their characterizations, and I wholeheartedly welcome that. But I feel like it's a very poor comparison to, like, you know, compare those to, like, I don't know, Brenner era characters, because it's like apples and oranges. I think
they're like how it's kind of like, at least for me, it kind of has like the energy of like people who go like, oh, well, you can't make Emily fit in the series, but then like we'll do shit tons of stuff with like characters like Barry or the Austerity Engine, who are like
non-entities.
Kind of have the opposite thing, yeah, where it's like they're concepts, not really characters.
Like, you know, they may be more canon compliant because they were meant to be in the series, but like, fucking the entire Railway series is just excuses for Audrey's to put stuff he thinks is cool on Sodor.
Yeah.
Also,
it really doesn't matter.
I guarantee if Wilbert wanted a Sterling single on Sodor, he would put a Sterling single on Sodor.
Yeah.
No, he would.
Because, like, this is the thing. Wilbert's great, and, like, he did amazingly with developing the lore, but he also was just kind of an old British guy who really liked trains.
he added a J50 tram, like an old J50 tram, because he liked the tram he visited.
It was literally just like, he found a tram in fucking East Anglia and was like, oh fuck yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
He just stuck it in his books.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
like,
It doesn't need to
I
be
like
more
that.
complicated than that. Like, you know, he wrote up realistic-ish explanations for how they ended up on Sodor, but, like, frankly, nothing should be on Sodor, 'cause Sodor's not real.
yeah.
So, I don't know if I really have a point other than, yeah, I don't have a point.
Can I say one other thing about that video, though?
Yeah.
And this isn't even related to Railway Series, it's just related to that video. I love that I'm 90% sure fucking Duel of the Fates is starting to play.
Yeah,
in that
it plays in every
clip,
episode
which is
today.
like I remember I watched that special once because I enjoy pain sometimes, and I think it plays like 10 separate times.
Yeah. That whole... If there was a series that could rival Stories of Sodor and how much ire I draw from it, it'd probably be that series, because, like... I feel like most people who want to make good adaptations of Thomas generally try to, like, avoid the pitfalls that, you know, the TV series made, that kind of made the Fat Controller kind of look like the, you know, big evil dictator that has his fingers in literally every industry on the island. That series feels like it would advocate for that take.
Gordon Henry, you have a special passenger,
And his name is Lucifer.
Lucifer.
What were we talking about before
Okay,
we did all this?
Okay, you know what? The one like good thing about that scene is you can imagine that it's Railway of Nowhere Alfred, but he got really drunk one day.
I think we were talking about tenders and turntables at one point.
Yeah.
Railway Series Book Club, patented tangents. It's pretty much all we do.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else to say about this page, honestly. You know,
Me
it's
neither.
it's fun. Gordon's
I
dialogue
do
is
like how
funny.
Gordon's drawn.
You know.
Yeah.
Gordon looks fine here. You know. I disagree
very
with the way
angry.
Thomas's tank is shaped here, but otherwise he looks
Yeah.
fine. Funnel's a bit
Gordon's
small,
a very
I guess.
angry train.
Angie Twain.
He's kind of like squashed down from the top, and then like his tank is like weirdly, like it looks like a Tetris block.
Yeah, it kind of
God,
does.
imagine
It looks...
you fucking T-spin, do a T-spin into Thomas's tanks and they disappear.
I am surprised fucking, like, the Big World era never had a fucking fantasy sequence where that happened.
Thomas just becomes Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Okay, no, but, okay,
Yes.
I'll be honest. An episode where Thomas becomes a gamer does sound like something that the Big World era would do.
That sounds like something
that's
they're
something-
definitely going to do in the reboot.
Yeah. You know, the Big World era would have refrained from that. The reboot actually absolutely will do something
God.
like that, and I want that.
We live in a fucking dire timeline. Do we want to move to the
I
next
s-
page?
No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't call that dire. Fucking Thomas and Diesel competing in a fucking, like, I don't know, Fortnite tournament or something. I want to see that so bad. Fucking, if they're gonna make an abomination, go all the way with it. Arrived at the terminus, Gordon waited till all the passengers had got out. Then, groaning and grumbling, he shunted the coaches to another platform. Disgraceful! Disgraceful! He hissed as he ran backwards to the turntable. The turntable was in a windy place close to the sea. It was only just big enough for Gordon, and if he was not on it just right, he put it out of balance, and it made it difficult to turn. Today, Gordon was in a bad temper, and the wind was blowing fiercely. I like this illustration.
Yeah, Thomas is
I-
there.
I think it...
Hey.
I don't know, I'm just looking at it right now and I'm seeing like a bunch of weird shit about it that is just perplexing me. Like, why is Thomas here? Why is he going towards the big station? Why aren't you on your branch line?
He's coming to get his special coach.
Oh, of course, because that's totally a thing that's on Audrey's mind right now.
Yeah.
I do.
Although I wouldn't be surprised if it was, honestly. Whatever.
It's a pointless thing, and it probably definitely wasn't the intention, knowing Dolby and stuff. But I do kind of like that, like, because this is the prelude to Gordon fucking around on the turntable, and the driver eventually just saying, "Fuck it, you're pulling the train backwards," and like. We see Thomas, like, it looks like he's doing just that.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
There are little swooshy airlines on Clarabelle,
yeah,
which signify he's going backwards.
Even though the smoke coming out of Thomas's funnel looks like he's supposed to be going forwards.
I didn't even realize there was smoke from this funnel.
It's like just barely cropped out of the image, but it's there.
As flawed as it is, I do think it makes, like, a little nice bit of, I guess, visual storytelling.
Yeah. You know, I just think it is kind of weird how, like, you know, I like the visual storytelling of Thomas there now that you've pointed it out, but I can't get over, like, the weird track plan and placement of the coaling stage at the shed, and also the turntable looks like it's fucking levitating.
Jamie, this is the thing, right? This is the thing, right? That coaling stage is there at the very least until Percy's book.
Yeah.
Really?
It's stupid and weird. Like, they take it down and move it a bit, I think, right?
I don't
like, just
remember.
move it a couple tracks over to the left.
I like that the shed has to, like, switch around it, and there's just the water tower right behind.
It's such an inconvenient track plan. Who approved this?
Probably the back controller while drunk.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mr. Topham Hat. We just wanted to get your agreement on the finalized Titmuff station plans. Yes, I sure fucking who cares. Let me get back to my drink.
What you're saying is that canonically in the Railway series, the Fat Controller is Captain Punjab's Fat Controller.
Well,
Meeny, meeny, miny, mo, Percy, Toby, Smokey, Joe.
Okay, this is the thing. We know so little about Topham Hat the First, he probably could be.
Fucking Thomas the Bachman model was canon this whole time.
Like, genuinely, this is a genuine thing. What stories is Topham Hat the First actually in?
All of them until Percy the Small Engine.
Okay. So he's not like a non-entity. I always assumed that he was kind of just a non-entity in the books that just kind of existed in folklore.
I think that would have been neat, I guess, but like, you know, nah, he's totally there until, you know, totally there until like the 50s. It's weird. I was gonna say something, but I've forgotten it now.
Oh shit, I just noticed, you're right, the turntable is floating.
Yeah, it has no supports. It honestly looks like it's fucking like misaligned in the circle too. That's probably just Dolby having fucked perspective, as per usual.
Yeah, it's not like aligned properly. The circle isn't a circle. It looks like an oval.
I mean, it looks pretty circular to me. I just take issue with like, it doesn't look like the turntable is like lined up properly inside it.
Oh my god! Imagine if instead of like Gordon being able not being able to turn around and then like he has to like pull the train, it's like they're trying to get him to turn around, can't, and then a sea bear just jumps out and eats him because it was an oval and not a circle. That wasn't funny.
I do wish that in the TV version we'd gotten to see like the scene where Gordon like you know, takes his coaches to the station and then has to take them to the other platform. Like, I feel like that add a lot of, you know, that add a bit, I guess, to the whole, like, you know, Gordon not liking the shunt.
I feel like if they didn't have to include the Henry and the Elephant exposition, they probably would have used that.
Yeah, probably, you know. That definitely ate up the time. So I don't blame him for not using it, but I feel like that's the kind of thing that, like, you know, an expanded adaptation of this book should include.
Yeah.
Yeah. His driver tried to make him stop on the right place. Backwards and forwards they went, but Gordon wasn't trying. At last, Gordon's driver gave it up. The fireman tried to turn the handle, but Gordon's weight was the strong wind prevented him. The driver, some plate layers, and the fireman all tried together. "It's no good," they said at last, mopping their faces. "Your tender upsets the balance. If you were a nice tank engine, you'd be alright. Now you'll have to pull the next train backwards."
God. I love seeing the illustration with, like, just all of these guys just, like, trying to move the turntable.
Yeah, because two of them are in the pit trying to push it with, like, a pole.
Yeah.
I like Gordon's smug face. He's just
Yeah.
like, "Try and move me, fuckers."
Yeah, like, I don't even know what Gordon's trying to accomplish here. I just think he's just being a dumbass
Gordon's just being difficult for the sake of being difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that this is literally all his fault.
Yeah.
And, like, because, like, they say he's the one, like, not really, like, trying to stop
Yeah.
properly.
I love how they
And-
portray Gordon's autonomy here, too. Because, like, you know, the driver is at the controls. He is making Gordon go back and forth. But Gordon is just being a finicky piece of shit and not doing it right.
I love how in the TV series he's just completely fucking
Yeah.
overshooting it. Like, what did he think would happen with this?
Yeah.
I think Gordon just wanted to cause problems for someone.
And then he
Yeah.
causes problems for himself.
Yup.
I don't think there's anything more Thomas than that, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything more Gordon than that.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, he's like, oh, I don't feel like doing... You know, it's like when he gives up going up the hill in book 1. It's like, you know, I can't do it. You know, I don't feel like doing it, so I'm just gonna stay here. You know, he's basically doing the same kind of thing here.
This is the thing, right? Gordon is like very much portrayed as like the dignified and posh and upper class one of the group, but he's also just a little bitch baby.
Yeah.
That's why Joe Swanson was able to get the Express.
Maurice, shut up.
Watch that video. Like, genuinely, I actually really like that series.
The scene in the episode where this happens always kind of weirded me out when I was younger, though, just because, like, no music played while it was happening, and it felt kind of weird.
Did they not play the Turntables song?
Yeah.
No, why would they play it? The turntable doesn't even move. He just
Well, the
goes onto the
turntable's
turntable,
there.
goes back and forth. It's just silence and sound effects.
Turntable's there, isn't it?
Yeah, but,
Huh.
so if you just stand within the vicinity of the turntable's theme should start playing.
No, that's what happens on Sodor. No one knows why. It's like if somebody just looks at the turntable song starts playing.
God.
You see, on Sodar, like, Mike and Junior are just eternally floating and playing, like, music.
See, Mike and Junior actually are like divine deities, and they just give backing arrangements to everything that happens on the island.
It's like that one Season 6 episode says, the island of Sodor is full of music, and it carries across the whole island.
See, I'm just imagining now the fucking Fat Controller wakes up, and, like, he goes through, like, his real morning routine, like, he brushes his teeth, he goes to the toilet, he has a shower, and he like, eats some toast. It's just, like, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do every single day.
It's playing the
Yeah, it
CGI
just
Sir Topham
eternally
Hat
drives
song
them
the entire
insane.
time on loop. He's back! He's back! He goes by the name of Sir Topham Hat.
This is the thing, one time they did that instead, and he hated that even more, so they just started doing that every day.
Oh, you know.
So sing along. Do Sir
Also,
Topham Hat song.
I didn't notice till you pointed it out, but, like, I just watched and, yeah, that, like, the clip of this scene does have no music. It's weird.
Yeah. Also, Gordon doesn't have a coupling hook in this illustration.
Oh no, it fell
yeah.
off.
Are Gordon's buffers always square in the Railway series? Or did
Yeah.
they change to oval eventually?
They always stay square.
Huh.
In
Yeah.
the TV series they made them ovals for some reason, but in the books they were always just completely square.
Yeah, I honestly prefer the ovals, but I think I'd like them better if they were more like ovally ovals. Because in the TV series, they, they're ovals, but they're kind of more, like, rectangular ovals, if that makes sense.
See,
They're
I prefer the square buffers just because they're more, like, distinct, and I like that Gordon has weird buffers.
Yeah, his buff buffers.
They're like a track oval equivalent kind of thing. Where, like, instead of, like, it being, like, a not even circle, there's, like, straights. I think. I don't know, I'm talking, like, nonsense at this point.
You always do.
Gordon came to the platform. Some little boys shouted, "Come on quick, here's a new tank engine." "What a swizz," they said when they came near. "It's only Gordon back to front." Gordon hissed emotionally. He puffed to the junction. "Hello," called Thomas, "playing tank engines? Sensible engine. Take my advice, scrap your tender and have a nice bunker instead." Gordon snorted, but didn't answer. Even James laughed when he saw him. "Take care," hissed Gordon. "You might stick too." "No fear," chuckled James. "I'm not as fat as you."
I like this illustration.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
Dolby and his daughter make fun little cameos here, so that's neat.
Oh, dude,
And also just the boys on the platform are kind of, what a swizz!
Was
What does it
swizz
even
ever a
mean?
word that people used?
It
What
must
does it
have been
even
some kind
mean?
of, like, slang that has since become lost to time.
Let's look it up.
I guess it means, like, what a ripoff kind of thing.
Yeah, like, oh, that's lame.
This can be our Railway Series word of the day. Apparently, a swizz is a swindle or disappointment.
Okay.
Huh, okay.
Railway Series Book Club word of the day.
Railway Series Book Club word of the
of-
day. Swizz!
That means we have to retroactively add ones to the last 16 episodes? 17?
No!
So one is poggers, one
This
is...
is a bad thing.
Okay.
Railway Series Book Club word of the day. Pain!
That's the word of every day. Apparently this is one of the only times they leave fat in the... like, as an insult in the US dub.
Yeah. I kind of do like, this happens more on the next page than on this one, but I do like how despite Gordon is, like, clearly on the receiving end of bad karma today, James is still gonna get some bad karma too for making fun of Gordon.
Yeah.
Sodor doesn't have a limited supply of it. It's literally just if you do something and you do it in a way that deserves retribution, you're going to receive that retribution in a timely manner.
Talk shit, get hit.
And hit, exactly. I like Thomas's bit here.
Yeah.
For some reason, I always took, like, Thomas as saying it in the yard, like, right before, like, the stuff with Gordon and James happens. But, like, how the TV series version is shot kind of implies it's, like, earlier?
Yeah, it's interesting. I do really like the shot in the TV series, though. It does a really good job of kind of adapting this panel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's from what I remember from the episode, it's Gordon arrives back at the junction, so.
Yeah.
Also, for some reason, the fucking 3 kids on the platform, the TV series looks so weird.
Yeah.
Especially in Season 1, the model figures never look natural.
Okay, this is the thing. There might have been some of the plasticine ones that melted.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what?
So in Season 1, they didn't have the budget to make as many human figures as they wanted to out of wood. So they made some out of plasticine, and they all melted under the lights.
Oh, no.
Nice.
Which is why a lot of them in Season 1 look really weird.
That explains why they didn't look right, actually. Fucking... Now I want, like, one of the, like, people that get all the props to just get fucking, like, the puddle remains of plasticine Season 1 figures. Like, it's just in a jar.
That'd be amazing. I like Gordon's face in this illustration.
Yeah.
You know, it's a pretty good one. He looks, you know, he looks very angry.
I think
Looks
Gordon's one of those
hashtag
characters
pissed.
that Dolby consistently does really good facial expressions for.
Yeah.
Like Gordon has like kind of inherently a very expressive character.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the one Audrey. He's the one Dalby seems to, like, stick to a certain, I guess, for lack of a better word, model for.
Yeah.
He's definitely the one that goes off model the least.
Yeah. Whereas, like, a lot of, like, Dalby, like, faces, it's like you either get ones that are, like, perfect, or, like, those really weird, like, early model series faces that they don't use because they look wrong, and then half the time the hit era uses them.
Also, I just want to point out, Happy Holidays, Switzerland.
Yeah. I hear they have
Oh.
very good nationalized railways there.
Oh yeah, I think they do.
That's where Gator's from, right?
No, he's from Colombia.
The Caldy Fell Railway engines are from Switzerland, though.
Yeah.
I mustn't stick, thought James anxiously, as he ran to the turntable later. He stopped on just the right place to balance the table. It could now swing easily. His fireman turned the handle. James turned. Much too easily. The wind puffed him round like a top. He couldn't stop. At last, the wind died down and James stopped turning, but not before Gordon, who had been turned on the loop line, had seen him. "Well, well," he said, "are you playing roundabouts?" Poor James, feeling quite giddy, rolled off to the shed without a word.
So
I guess giddy had a different meaning here?
I mean, giddy means dizzy, right?
Giddy is
I just
generally
meant
like
happy.
Giddy is generally like dizzy, but it can also mean happy.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because like remember,
Yeah.
Boko also says "Stop, you're making me giddy" in
Yeah.
the diseasel.
Yeah, okay, so looking it up, it says
Yeah. So
first two definitions are about spinning.
yeah.
The next two are like the happy equivalent to when I fucking
Yeah.
bounced out of my seat while watching Dragon Ball Super Broly.
So James has become a Beyblade because he is a twink. And we're ignoring the elephant in the room, which is the loop line still exists.
Yeah, it's
And I
back.
can't believe we never realized, like, it was
Do you
probably
think
just
Gordon-
because it wasn't
Do you
mentioned
think Gordon
in
was
the
getting into contact with
narrations.
Benry?
Why didn't they just have him go around the loop in the first place?
I guess you had to, like, go past the station in order to get to it. Like, I don't fucking understand the map, but, you know, clearly what must have happened is Edward felt sorry for Gordon, and so he used the loop line dimension to turn him around. Gordon was only lightly scarred by the experience.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Edward shielded him from most of the dark creatures held in there, but he did allow him to say hello to Benry.
Yeah.
He specifically sent him around so he could contribute to James's karma.
Yeah.
That's the thing,
I like this-
Edward actually is the one that controls, like, I said Nintendo's, Sodor's, like, cosmic eat shit fucking powers. So he's the one that dictates who's there when they're needed.
I was thinking that they came from the loop line as opposed to from Edward, because, like, it's a loop, as in, like, what comes around goes around.
Yeah, but now
So, like, you know,
we've
the
established that
karma
Edward has
loops-
control over the loop line.
Well, Edward has control over the loop line, but that doesn't mean he has control over the karma.
This is true.
Does that mean is Edward the one that came? Is Edward being sent from the loop line?
I don't think Edward is from the loop line. I just think he was naturally gifted with the power to control the loop line.
Tell us in the comments, what do you think about Edward's powers?
Well, I don't think
I
they
mean,
show up
join
again
our-
after this story, but I'm not.
Join our
I'm not entirely-
Discord. Tell us about the loop line.
Oh god, I forgot to say it in front of that. Join our Discord. Join our Discord. We have.
Make sure
We have
to
fun.
like, comment, subscribe, follow our OnlyFans. That's just close-up pictures of Gordon's face.
We should make that.
No.
God.
No, making ironic OnlyFans is dumb.
Maybe if we make a Patreon, we can make that a goal that we'll just send you close-up pictures of Gordon.
God.
I like... The spinning in the TV series is fun, and Isn't the first time one of the engines just the eye spinny thing?
I think it might be.
I think
or wait,
Thomas
no,
does it
in
at the
episode
end
1.
Of, yeah, I think Thomas does it at the end of, he does it at the end of Thomas and the Breakdown Train, and he does it briefly in, like, the ending of the introduction to him and Thomas and Gordon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can I just say, I love the fucking, like, workman just getting into James spinning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa!
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I didn't read it like that. I feel like the guy who's got his hands raised up closest to the handle is more like just kind of like taking his hands away just because the handle is just kind of whipping around.
See, I just like the guy over to the right who is just, like, proudly standing there like, yes, I did this.
I was here.
I really like the kind of like the effect of James's face is kind of blurring together here.
Yeah.
It's
You can
fun.
see, like, his face and, like, a little bit of his dome.
Yeah. It's fun. I guess there's not a lot to say about this page other than the loop line.
Yeah.
I will say, Gordon looks really good here.
Yeah, it looks fine.
His face looks a little bit more like Henry than Gordon to me.
A little bit.
So I like the idea that James has been spinning for so long that Gordon just came up on the fucking track next to the turntable and just watched him.
Yeah.
He looks so happy.
James doesn't.
Next
He's
page.
also kind of squashed. That night, the three engines had an indignation meeting. It's shameful to treat tender engines like this. Henry gets whooshed by elephants, Gordon has to go backwards and people think he's a tank engine, James spins round like a top, and everyone laughs at us. And added to that, the fat controller makes us shunt in dirty sidings. Ugh, said all three engines together. Listen, said Gordon. He whispered something to the others. We'll do it tomorrow. The fat controller will look silly.
Okay, so something I noticed while listening to the narration of the story by Johnny Morris, which I didn't realize wasn't in the book until now, is that he noted that Gordon does most of the talking. And that's true in the book, too. It's just he draws attention to it.
I actually really like that detail.
Yeah, because it's kind of like...
Yeah.
Gordon's kind of like, you know, kind of taking advantage of all of their, like, you know, frankly pretty disconnected, like, you know, minor embarrassing incidents, and trying to turn it into grounds for revenge. And the line at the very end does kind of give away that, like, what they do in the next story, they're not doing it because they want to attain better working conditions. They're doing it just because they want the fat controller to look silly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm of two minds of it, though. Like, on the one hand, it does kind of give an out for why, like, you know, certain things in the story are the way they are. But on the other hand, it also, like, you know, I just can't shake the feeling that, like, you know, the worst case scenario is that...
The intention is to, like, kind of make fun of striking workers.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Like, the intention, like, you know... It reminds me a bit of, like... You know how there'll be, like, fucking, like, Marvel villains and shit who's, like, you know... Who are super villains but have motivations that are, like, unequivocally good things. But then they
Yeah.
do, like, you know, a bunch of bad shit to justify why the superheroes will fight these guys. Like, you know, hello, my
Yeah.
name is, you know... My name is Evil McBadman. You know...
Literally.
I want
Killmonger.
to provide this nation with universal health care. And to do that, I am going to be putting orphans into a lemon juicer. Like...
It's okay, you can say Killmonger.
Yeah. But, like, you know... And I mean, usually in those stories, the heroes will be like, you know, yeah, you're right, we should do this good thing, but also you've done bad thing, so... I don't know, it's
Yeah.
weird. Like, I feel like the intention... God, I forgot how I was going to tie that into this, but it's like... to an extent, I feel like, you know, Audrey may not have been intending to portray, like, you know, the idea of workers striking to attain better rights as a bad thing. He might have not been trying to imply that. But, you know, just by portraying the engines, like, you know, doing this thing in order to make the Fat Controller look silly, it could come off that way if you're not really paying attention.
Yeah.
So it's weird. I don't know.
I don't know if this is the place to talk about this, and I can cut this if it's not, but, like, to kind of prepare more, I watched the next episode and, like, took my notes and stuff on it while, like, right after doing this one, and the way that that story and the episode is set up is that it feels like they get punished less for the strike itself and more how they act afterwards. Because, like spoilers, I guess, but, like...
No spoilers for the Railway series, ooh!
Yeah, but, like, I don't know how much of this is getting ahead of, like, what we're talking about next time, but, like, after, like, they're in the shed, he goes to get Edward and, like, to shunt in the yard. And, like, he does what they ask.
Yeah, he gets them help.
And then afterwards is when, like, he comes back, Edward's, like, miserable because the others are all treating him like shit. Not even for... Because it's not even like like, Edward was working over the picket line kind of thing, because, like, they aren't protesting anymore. Like,
yeah, if they were actually principled, they would probably be offended that, you know, the Fat Controller made another tender engine shunt for them. But they're not principled, they're just jackasses.
Yeah, it comes across more as, like, they're being jackasses to Edward. And, like, the Fat Controller's line of, like, we really do need another tank engine here makes me think, and this is all probably looking way too deep into the story, but hey, I guess that's the point of the podcast. It makes me think he planned on getting another one in the first place, and that
like Edward was kind of a stopgap solution while he was working on it.
Yeah, and then when he sees, like, how shitty they're acting to him is more what, like, makes the rest of the story happen.
That might be it, honestly. I never thought of that.
Actually a very good interpretation of things.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will say, I don't know if this would affect that interpretation, but I think the Black Wheels line is based on an old-timey way of talking about people that work during strikes.
Yeah, black leg. You know, it's basically, like, you know, you're a scab, you know.
Yeah. Which
it's like, doesn't even really fit Edward. Like, he's not working during the strike. Him working is what ended the strike.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not... like, when he starts doing the thing, Gordon, Henry, and James are, like... They come out of the sheds and do their work. The strike is effectively over at that point.
Yeah.
So, like... then again, I mean, they are engines. Engines don't entirely understand human things, so maybe... You know, I feel like their entire interpretation of the strike might just have, like... You know, they might have heard a thing about a strike and then just, like... come to incorrect conclusions about what one is just because engines have very limited knowledge of human things. But, like...
I mean, it's literally shown later in the stories that they don't understand what clothes are.
Yeah.
Like, they don't understand what clothes are, and Bert doesn't understand the point of scenery.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation, and it's something I wish, honestly, we could have gotten some sort of interview with Audrey that talked about.
Yeah, like a sort of a clearer explanation of why things went down the way they did.
Okay,
I feel like that's a problem I have with most of Audrey's, like, you know, word of God is that, and honestly some of just the other stuff in the stories is that they're worded vaguely, and, like, sometimes that adds charm to it, but then other times it just leaves, like, weird ambiguities where there shouldn't be.
Yeah.
This is the thing, I feel like if I had the chance to interview Audrey, the first thing I'd say is, what the fuck was happening in The Missing Coach? And the second thing I would say is, can you go further into detail about what's happening in Troublesome Engines?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because honestly, with the whole thing, we kind of talked about this in the first episodes, but it's like, best case scenario, he, like, saw what was going on and, like, thought it would make an interesting story, and then that's where this came from, and it wasn't really meant to be, like, some sort of commentary, or, like, at least for me, I think the most likely thing is that, like, he didn't really understand, like, the whole concept fully, which isn't really a foreign thing for that period, because I think I said this in the first episode, like last episode, but this is the time where fucking Walt Disney, during the, like, Disney animator strikes, was able to be, like, really easily convinced that they were all actually just communists, and there's a quote of him saying, "You commie sons of bitches," while going to punch someone on the picket line. So, like, a less extreme version of that, but with Audrey. Or, like, more likely just, like, he didn't, or, like, there's the chance it was, like, supposed to be kind of a mocking, which I like to think isn't the case, but
I
really
feel like
we can't rule it out, but I don't see why anyone would want to assume the worst.
Yeah, you can't rule it out, but it's not fair to assume the worst when he never actually made direct comments on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I honestly, like, watching it more and reading it today and, like, coming to the interpretation I kind of did help that a lot, because, like, surprisingly, the strike itself is... And it's weird, because it's, like, that's what this entire book is built around, essentially, but it's a very minor event, because
It's very minor and flimsy, honestly. Like, we should probably save a lot of that for, like, when we actually talk about that story next time. But honestly, you know, if these three were actually trying to strike for better conditions, they're doing a pretty fucking shitty job of it.
Yeah, especially because when they get what they want, they take it... It's not even like a... Like, oh, like... You should be treating Edward better, because they're treating him like garbage. Like... The line at the end of this really does kinda put it all in perspective, is that they're just doing this more out of petty revenge, I guess, than actually getting anything.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the thing, I think they do want a shunter, but they also just want to make the Fat Controller look like a dumbass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, if they can make the Fat Controller look like a dumbass and also get a shunter so they don't have to shunt their coaches, that's the best case scenario for them.
Yeah.
And then even when they get a shutter, Henry immediately tries to treat him like shit.
Yeah. Like, we'll have a lot more to say about that next time. I think we should move on to ratings.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sorry for kind of tangenting.
No, it's fine.
No, that was a great conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go first. I think I give the story to Toby. It's a pretty funny one. You know, a bit... I feel like I was kind of floundering a bit in the story just because there wasn't an awful lot to say about it. But, you know, it's fun. I like it. You know, it's got both the funny moment of Gordon going backwards and also the funny moment of James on the turntable. Those are both pretty funny moments. And, yeah, it's a pretty good story.
Yeah.
I can see why they picked it over Henry and the Elephant as the debut.
Yeah. I'm actually of the same mind. I go to Toby too. It's a fun story, and like you said, it's an episode that makes a lot of sense, and I do think choosing it of the two was absolutely the right choice. And there's a lot of fun visuals in the TV series version. There's a lot of fun conversations and scenes in this, and like Jamie said, I didn't have the most to say about this one, but it's more of a kind of, there's only so many ways to say, like, I really like this, it's fun, sort of thing. And that's, like, absolutely not a detriment to the story. I really enjoy it. Literally, the only thing I could think of that I would even, like, want changed is just maybe, like, seeing a bit more of the ending, like, of, like, the three, like, making the plan, but even that is done, like, well, so it's not even a genuine complaint. That's just a, like, wanting to see more, I guess. So yeah, I really like this one. It gets Toby for me.
Nice. Yeah, honestly, I'm probably gonna say Toby too. North of the island that lives a dear old train, little tram engine, Toby.
Toby was his name.
It was. He was quaint and old-fashioned. But
careful and wise.
So, it's a really...
Henrietta.
Do you have actual analysis, or are we just gonna quote the song?
Okay,
Sorry,
but I feel like we're
go on.
gonna do that a lot when we get to Toby's book.
God.
Oh no, absolutely.
So, like, I would say Toby, because it's, like, really fun story. Probably one of my favorites from the Season 1 batch. It's, like, you know, I feel like most people who watched Thomas as a kid and had access to the classic series remembers the episode where James spun around.
Yeah.
Because it's, like, it's a pretty easily memorable visual, and it's just kind of a fun episode. It's, like, I think this episode, there isn't much to it, mostly because it's mostly meant to act as a build-up for the next episode. Like, Henry the Elephant and this are essentially... The function of those stories is to build into the strike, which is the main catalyst for the book, really. So, I think them not being too in-depth stories on their own is okay, because they're kind of still the setup for the main plot of the book, which is going to take place in the final two stories. So,
Yeah.
like, I would say this is a genuinely really good episode, really good book, like, really good story. You know, I really like it. I like James. I like Gordon. It's a fun story. Thomas is fun. Toby. Toby out of Douglas.
Alright, well, I guess that's it for today.
That was a really short recording.
Yeah, you know, you know, peek behind the curtain. Like, my audio file's coming out to, like, an hour and 7 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Same with mine.
Yeah, this is probably going to be on the short side when it's fully edited. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Railway Series Book Club. Tomorrow we'll be talking about, the big one. The big major book. The big major story in this book.
What everything's been coming to.
Yep.
And I'm probably gonna go back and listen to the song from Merry Christmas, Thomas the Tank Engine to get ready for it.
Oh my god, you just
Christmas,
reminded me to do that.
Christmas.
Christmas. Thomas, we shall prove it to you.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll see you next time on the Railway Series Book Club. Yeah, join our Discord server again.
Join it,
Yes.
discuss Benry and the loop line, and talk to us about funny haha trains.
Yeah.
That's all we do. Please, we're so lonely.
Yeah, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.